This is it, the Krypton Factor Grand Final 1995. Thousands applied, just 4 have survived.
This magnificent trophy, the glittering prize awaiting the first to the summit of the Krypton Mountain.
The battle for the champion's crown starts now. Our 4 grand finalists are all veterans of the toughest assault course in the country. 16 obstacles designed to test them to the limits of their physical agility. And as one would expect, this is a very fast start with the early leader Ian Mitchell of Leeds in green. Once more, all 4 have been set scientifically assessed target times, and it's those times which each contestant is aiming to beat. Through the switchback for the youngest contestant, Nigel Stones in red. His is the fastest target, so he needs to be ahead of the other 3 by nearly 20 seconds. But so far it's the winner of last week's group final, Ian Mitchell, in the lead from John Reynolds in yellow.
The pace remains furious. Both Ian and John have to be careful that they don't burn themselves out too early. Nigel's hot on their heels, just behind John.
Being the first person from Northern Ireland in the finals, great. So now I'm here because of that. I'd really want to win it.
Down the fireman's pole, and Ian appears to be tiring. Did he set off, I wonder, too fast? John is level with him, and both Andy Wilbur and Nigel Stones are getting closer. Ian and John still neck and neck. Andy is in 4th place, but Ulster's John Reynolds now takes the lead. Now he has to put at least 12 seconds between himself and Ian to win the race. Onto the cargo net, Nigel is increasing the pace and catching the leaders. The tramwires next, and it is a very fast time and very close.
This is a great tactical performance from Nigel, really closing in now on Ian.
I had a very strong personal belief that I would do quite well, although I was a little bit worried in the group final when I got so far behind.
And still in 4th place is Andy Wilbur.
I always hoped that I could get through to the final, but obviously I was never sure. But we gave it a go and it came off.
That bruising S-bend, and Ian Mitchell has clawed back the ground on John Reynolds as they come to the chain bridge. But the Irishman showing terrific technique over it. He's really pulling clear now of both Ian and Nigel.
I'm extremely surprised to be in the final because the opposition's just been so tough. And I hope I can pull some points back on the general knowledge round.
This is such a close contest, and one befitting the grand final. Any one of 3 people could win the race, and as they reach the A-frame, it's impossible to pick a winner. Ian Mitchell in green really beginning to tire, though, and Nigel Stones is at last overtaking him, but it's John Reynolds first over that A-frame. Andy's still trailing the leaders. And it takes grit, determination and good technique to do well on this assault course, and John Reynolds has it all. He practices on a children's adventure playground back in County Antrim, but this is no playground and he'll never take on a tougher physical challenge. And he charges on through the water splash, and the only real threat to him now is from Nigel Stones. But Nigel not only needs to overtake John, he has to beat him by a clear 5 seconds. That's the difference in their target times. But John already up onto the Burma rope bridge. He set a remarkable pace from the start, and Nigel looks like he's left himself too much to do. He is giving it everything, but John is close to finishing the course. The exhaustion really showing now on Ian's face, wearily dragging himself through the water splash. But it's going to be John Reynolds who wins. Down the aerial slide, a quick glance back and a big smile because he knows he's won the race in style. A magnificent 25 seconds ahead of his target time. They've survived the physical challenge of the country's toughest assault course, and they know the pressure won't let up. As we now welcome to the studio our 4 grand finalists.
Well, Nigel, Ian and John all bettered their scores on the assault course, but John Reynolds is the overall winner.
And the full points breakdown: Andy scores 2, Ian 4, Nigel 6 and John takes 10 points. Speed of thought and reflex action are the qualities required for round 2 mental agility. The grand finalists will compete to answer questions in the fastest time through touchscreen technology. They're about to be shown a series of groups, each of which could feature numbers, shapes, playing cards, days or clock times. I will ask sets of questions relating to the particular group they're looking at. For example, if the grand finalists were given this set of clock times, 0440, 10:35, 14:10 and 18:40, I might say 3 hours 35 between. And the answer would be 10:35 and 14:10, as there are 3 hours and 35 minutes between those two times. That's the challenge. Grand finalists, we begin with clock times. 5 hours after 22:20. 4 hours 55 between. 2.5 hours before 13:10. 50 minutes before 2100. 3 hours after 0020. Midway between 1300 and 1730. 9 hours before 1940. 85 minutes after 1845. Playing cards. Neither female nor black. Neither a picture nor divisible by 3. Red picture. 7 higher than the 4th image. Not red. Neither a picture nor black. Red card higher than 9. Black picture. On to numbers. 2 numbers greater than 8. 1 number between. The sum is 1 more than 12. The difference is 5. 2 squared plus 3. 6 letters. Neither odd nor divisible by 4. 1 less than half of 16. Shapes. 3 sides. Red less than 5 sides. Neither black nor even sides. Even sides. Neither red nor a triangle. Neither black nor square. Black more than 1 side. 2 left of 4th image. Days of the week. 4 days after Tuesday. 2 days between. That's it, the end of the round, and a quick glance at the computer now shows that, as you'd expect in a grand final, some excellent performances, but the winner with 11 correct answers is Ian Mitchell. And the full mental agility result: Nigel 2 points, Andy 4, John 6 and Ian 10. So after 2 rounds, it's a very close contest, but in the lead with a Krypton factor of 16 is County Antrim's John Reynolds.
Grand finalists should be experienced pilots by now. They've looped the loop over Blackpool, they've flown around the Lake District, and now they're on another journey. This time their mission is particularly difficult. They're going to have to successfully take off and then follow the lead plane through a series of aerobatic manoeuvres. They'll have to actually land the plane, lowering the undercarriage correctly before they do so. Points are deducted for failing to follow the leader accurately, and extra points are taken off for losing contact and crashing. The maximum possible score is 100, but a tracking score in the 80s and above is excellent.
First into the cockpit is Nigel Stones, a Scunthorpe Motor Factory manager, flying in 3rd place overall. He takes off from Walton Aerodrome near Preston, heading west over the Ribble Valley, then turning back towards the aerodrome for the aerobatic section. And he wasn't so good at that in his heat, failing to finish, although he did complete the low-level flying in his group final. Now starting the near vertical climb, and a good tracking score at present. He's keeping right on the tail of the lead aircraft, and now about to roll out, and then it's back to Walton for the landing. And in the cockpit on his left is a white lever which he'll have to push down at 400 feet to drop the undercarriage. This is the moment. The leader's wheels come down, so do Nigel's. And lining up now with the runway for the all-important landing, his speed reducing to 140 knots. Tracking score still very respectable. Now needs to hold his nerve. He's a bit close to the edge of the runway, but okay. And that is a firm landing, but he made it. And a very good effort from Nigel Stones. Already into the flight, Ian Mitchell from Leeds, currently in 2nd place, just 2 points behind John Reynolds. But he'll really fancy his chances of snatching the lead here. He knows it's John's worst round, while he gave 2 brilliant flying displays in his heat and group final, especially the aerobatics. His tracking score is excellent in what is a really difficult exercise. Banking left now for the final approach. Down comes the leader's undercarriage, followed immediately by Ian's. Tracking score 87 plus, and that is very good indeed. He just needs to get the landing right now. He's about 1 kilometre from runway 08, landing at about 140 knots, perfectly behind the leader, keeping it steady, right in over the centre line, and that is a superb landing. A brilliant performance again from Ian Mitchell. Next, the contest leader, Northern Ireland's John Reynolds. Well, could it be third time lucky? This round has been a disaster for him in the past. Neither in the heat nor group final was he in the air for longer than 15 seconds. His tracking score here superb at the moment, but already in trouble, I think. He has lost contact with the leader and now into a steep dive. This is going to be a spectacular crash, and he laughs all the way down. John Reynolds. Finally, Wellingborough's Andy Wilbur, in last place coming into the round. He badly needs a good score here to build his points total to a level where he can buy crucial advantages in the super round. His tracking score not great in the 70s, but he's had mixed fortunes in his 2 previous flying attempts. He failed to finish in his heat, but did complete, albeit erratically, in the group final. And the reason his tracking score is so low here is because he's considerably adrift from the lead aircraft, though still in touch. But if he's to get down on the runway, he needs to get in line pretty quickly, and he is struggling to find the tarmac, banking hard. He's going to do well to get down in one piece. Will he make it? No, it's a crash for Andy Wilbur.
So here's how the points worked out. John gets 2, Andy 4, Nigel 6, and Ian takes the 10. And that means we have a new leader with a Krypton factor of 24, the computer analyst from Leeds, Ian Mitchell. Observation is the round where our grand finalists must demonstrate their ability to memorise a concentrated flow of visual detail. Coming up, another brilliant computer animation commissioned from the Department of Media Production at Bournemouth University. And after it, 5 questions. Tonight's animation is called Perpetual. 5 questions on that animation starting now. How many sharks were in the sea around the desert island? What pieces were grouped together at the forefront of a set of chess pieces? What number was featured beside the cannon? What was featured on the banner marked 7 and to the right of the one displaying the letters CIA? Which cannon appeared in the animation? We have a tie for first place with Andy and Ian both getting all 5 right, so the clock decides the finishing order, and the fastest and therefore the winner of the round is Andy Wilbur. The points break down then. 2 points for Nigel, 4 for John, 6 for Ian and 10 for Andy. So after 4 rounds, increasing his lead to 8 points with a Krypton factor of 30 is Ian Mitchell.
The last challenge before the super round, and how important it's going to be for all our grand finalists. They desperately need to build their points totals as high as possible to buy super round advantages, which could prove to be the difference between being crowned Krypton Factor champion or being the runner-up. Coming up, 75 seconds of rapid-fire general knowledge questions with 2 points for a correct answer, 2 points deducted for a wrong answer. Good luck, grand finalists. The clock starts now. Who was Chancellor of the Exchequer during Mrs. Thatcher's last year as Prime Minister? John.
Nigel Lawson.
No, John Major. In which 70s television series did Lee Majors play Colonel Steve Austin? John.
$6 Million Man.
Correct. Which prefix means 1 million when used for watts for power or for byte? Ian.
Mega.
Correct. In which romantic film does Meg Ryan respond to a boy's radio plea for a wife? Ian.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Correct. Originating in Seattle, which fashion and music style involves conspicuously Nigel?
Grunge.
Correct. Grunion, Grunt, Gurnard and Grouper are all what sort of? Ian?
Fish.
Correct. Which author wrote 12 Red Herrings, Honour Among Thieves and First Among Equals? Ian?
Jeffrey Archer.
Correct. Which London road runs south from Marble Arch towards Buckingham Palace? Ian?
The Mall.
No, Park Lane. Who directed Jurassic Park, Jaws and Duel? John?
Steven Spielberg.
Correct. A speleologist is interested especially... Ian?
Caves.
Correct. What does the abbreviation kV represent in measuring electricity? Ian?
Kilovolts.
Correct. The Volta River is in which African country, formerly the Gold Coast? Ian?
Ghana.
Correct. And that's it, the end of the round. It means that the leader going into the super round with an excellent Krypton factor of 42 is the computer analyst from Leeds, Ian Mitchell. So Ian has the clear edge, but now it's all down to how wisely they use their points to buy advantages and how expertly they tackle the mighty challenge of the super round.
Yes, you can feel the tension in here as the contestants are about to take part in the Super Round Grand Final next.
Welcome back to the climax of the 1995 series of the Krypton Factor. This is the grand final, and our four brilliant contestants are on their way through to the Super Round to take on the most spectacular, action-packed challenge of all as they bid to become the Krypton Factor champion of 1995. The Krypton Super Round begins with the dramatic parachute jump. Next, the contestants must find their way through the cryptic rings. Out of the rings, they have to crack a series of computer codes before starting down the laser matrix, where breaking the beams incurs a disastrous time penalty. Next, 6 battens must be collected from the response revolve before the final hurdle, Krypton Mountain. Constructing the ladder comes first, followed by a race to the top.
Contestants, take your positions.
And a reminder that the leader going into the Super Round is Ian Mitchell with a Krypton factor of 42. John Reynolds is second with 24, Andy Wilbur third with 20, and Nigel Stones fourth with 18. Now, it is crucial that the finalists have now used those points to help them through their weak areas. Ian has bought 2 battens from the response revolve, 1 ladder piece, and a word from the computer challenge. John has bought a word in the computer challenge, a ladder piece, and a guide arrow in the cryptic rings. Andy has purchased 1 batten, a guide arrow and a word from the computer challenge. Nigel, with the least points, has bought 2 guide arrows and 1 ladder piece.
And for the final time, our contestants face the cryptic rings, speeded through by their personal codes, which appear on the monitors in front of them. As soon as they've memorised those, they can jump. When you're ready, good luck. The Super Round Grand Final starts now.
And all 4 grand finalists make the 50-foot parachute jump virtually together. They throw off those harnesses and now head for the cryptic rings.
They're all experienced, so they know exactly what the demands of the rings are. This may be where Andy, John and Nigel get ahead of the leader, Ian. They all bought guide arrows advantages and he didn't. How major a decision was that? This code is crucial in finding a quick route out. In the excitement of the contest, it's very easy to forget a letter and lose precious time. Cryptic rings have been the downfall of many a contestant during the series. Could they yet ruin a finalist's chances? They're searching for their letters and numbers and, of course, their all-important exit markers. Those guide arrows certainly seem to have paid off for Nigel Stones. He's found his, and the motor factory manager from Scunthorpe is first out. Andy Wilbur in blue has also found his exit point. So 2 contestants are already out and logging in at the computer challenge. And it looks like a third, John Reynolds, has found his exit marker. Just Ian Mitchell left in the rings. Just checking that's his marker, and he's on his way.
As one would expect, the computer challenge for the grand final is especially tough, and this will really stretch the mental powers of our finalists. all the consonants on the keyboard are correct, but each vowel has been assigned a number. So to get A, you press 1. For E, you press 2, and so on. Nigel's been there the longest. He has cracked it, and he moves on now to his next word. But Andy Wilbur is about to complete his first one, and having bought a one-word advantage, he'll be able to move straight on to his third word.
This isn't easy under the intense pressure. Nigel's almost completed his second word, just needing to tap in a 2 to get E, which he's got. But at this stage, it's Andy Wilbur who's in the lead. And that's John Reynolds' computer behind him. John is struggling, but Ian Mitchell appears to have worked it out, and he's just about to get his word advantage there. The data systems manager from Wellingborough, Andy, is on his last word. Tension mounting here, just 2 more letters. And he's got it. He's cracked all of them and can start down the laser run, leaving a still clearly confused John Reynolds at his terminal.
And as this is the grand final, the speed of those beams has been increased, making it more difficult to judge their rhythm. Nigel Stones close behind Andy, and this is something of an upset because Ian Mitchell, the clear leader going into the super round, is still struggling at his terminal.
So it's Nigel second down the laser run, weaving in and out of those rapidly moving beams. He's going very fast along there. But he's broken one, and that means an immediate 7-second delay. And how vital will that be, I wonder? John Reynolds still not happy at the computer terminal, and he's falling well behind now. Andy's in the response revolve, and he's already collected 2 battens and has only 3 left to get, so he's well ahead of the rest of the field. John's now broken the code, but he's spending far too long on breaking each word, and speed is of the essence. Still got 2 more words to finish. So it's looking good for Andy Wilbur. No, he's taken a tumble there. Nigel Stones joining him in the revolve. John Reynolds has finally cracked all 4 words, and he can start down the laser matrix in 3rd place. And finally, here comes Ian Mitchell. Ian has most of his advantages to come, but he's going to have to be very, very quick if he's going to catch Andy Wilbur.
He's at the mountain already, and with only Nigel Stones in the revolve, Andy Wilbur is on course for a runaway victory. But he does have to build his ladder from scratch. He's no advantages here, and that's going to take a lot of time. First piece is in, but he does look like it's beginning to tell on him. And now John and Ian are in the revolve, but they're going to have to be very, very quick. And John, no, takes a terrible fall there in his desperation, but they're all leaving it so late to catch Andy, and they're making those mistakes in their anxiety. But at last, Nigel Stones has collected all his battens, and he has 1 ladder already in place as an advantage. But Andy Wilbur is already fitting his last piece. Nigel is the only one who can catch him, putting in that vital piece of ladder, and Andy's used his advantages to get a very big lead at this stage, and it has worked very well. Ian Mitchell has got his final battle, so has John Reynolds, and Nigel's fitting that last vital ladder piece. There's only 1 man on the mountain, and that's Andy Wilbur. Nigel is in hot pursuit, and it's clear that his 7-second delay in the laser run was absolutely crucial. But it is between these 2 for the Krypton K. Nigel Stones battling hard, but it's Andy who is going to win it. Yes, Andy Wilbur is the 1995 Krypton Factor champion. And it is Nigel Stones who is finishing second. And Ian's struggling with those cumbersome ladder pieces, and just ahead of him is Ulster's John Reynolds heading for the top of the mountain. Ian is valiantly trying to catch him, but John so strong on the assault course, powering his way to the peak. It all went wrong for Ian at the computers, and it is John Reynolds who takes 3rd place and immediately gets a handshake from the champ. And now Ian Mitchell finishing 4th. Well, a dramatic finish to a very exciting grand final. And ladies and gentlemen, would you now welcome our new champion, Andy Wilbur. Very well done.
Well done.
Brilliant performance. Thank you very much.
Incredible. Now, look, you went in 3rd in the super round. Did you really think you could do it?
I was quietly confident, but I knew I'd going to have to pull everything out on the day, yes.
Andy, we're absolutely delighted to hand over the Krypton K. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Wilbur.
Thank you.
And, of course, the rest of the grand final contestants. Well done. Well done.
Well done.
Well done. Well done.
Yes, good night, goodbye, and let us salute one last time our Krypton Factor champion of 1995, Andy Wilbur.
It's It's bad enough when things go wrong at home, but what happens when you're away? Following the people picking up the pieces in Mallorca. Emergency Abroad, tonight at 9 on PIC TV.